Our essential question is, how do GMOs, genetically modified organisms, affect agriculture?
We don't have a choice to stay. We'd rather die than do it.
People need crops and other natural ingredients to live. Farmers use them as their business. Animals need them to live. Then people came up with GMOs. GMOs transfer the genes from one thing to another. They did this so that they would be more appealing, pesticide resistant, weather resistant, and more. But do GMOs help?
So do you know what genetically modified foods are?
Like tomatoes and things they do, like to make them last longer when they ship them and stuff like that.
Bettered or improved by collecting the best of and keep going.
I've heard of them. Yeah, I don't know how big of a fan I am, but
Right.
yeah, I don't really know if it's good or bad.
Did you know that we've been eating these foods for the last 10 years?
No, I haven't known that. Where do they normally sell those kind of foods?
I'd kind of taken back by it. I thought it was just grown in soil, and I didn't know they were modifying my food.
I know.
It's kind of scary.
Well, I know it's been a while. I didn't realize quite that long.
Well, the simplest way to put it is that scientists had an idea to make crops more resilient to external factors. So let's say you grow tomatoes, and at night it gets so cold that by morning half your tomatoes are frozen, and now you can't sell them anymore. This is what scientists were able to change through genetic modification. They figured out a way to take DNA from one organism and put it inside a completely different organism to create a desired and specific outcome. For example, let's go back to the tomato scenario. Scientists recognized that Arctic flounder, yes, that's the fish, could withstand extremely cold temperatures. They thought, what if we took the DNA trait that allows the flounder to withstand the cold and put it inside the tomato DNA, so that the tomato could withstand the same temperatures? Now you've just narrowed your chances of your tomatoes becoming frozen. This idea that you could now get 100% crop yield was the original guiding principle for genetic modification. Our friends at Lily Films have a documentary called The Future of Food by Deborah Coons-Garcia that explains it best.
Genetic engineering is really a radical revolution in food production. It's really a cell invasion technology. You know, people have heard they're taking a flounder gene and putting it in tomato so the tomato can last in cold temperatures. But people don't ask, how does that flounder gene get in that tomato? How does it get in there? And what really happens is, the only way you can do it is to invade the cell of the tomato and deposit the flounder gene. Well, what's good at invading cells? Bacteria and viruses.
GMOs have many bad effects. One effect is brain damage. Another is higher risk of cancer. Superbugs and superweeds are an effect of too many GMOs. Also, if you have too many antibiotic genes, you can get a superbug virus. This virus is resistant to antibiotics. Therefore, not many antibiotic medicines will help you. Superweeds are also created by GMOs. Now people are using heavy toxins to get rid of the superweeds. Some toxins that they use now were used in World War I against the enemy. These toxins, which are in the air now, are affecting lots of people, including farmers. Did you know that to genetically modify things, they use bacteria and viruses? That's what they are putting in our food. They think that people will like this change, but instead people are becoming sick or dying as the result of GMOs. These combine to invade the cells of the seed, giving it a modified gene. When the DNA is in the seed, they add the genes of another animal or organism. Then it is a GMO, all from bacteria and viruses.
We never thought we could lose it all. Ready, aim, fire. Ready, aim, fire.
GMOs require massive amounts of pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides. Cross-pollination between GM and non-GM crops in common as well can destroy natural plant varieties in the wild. GM crops are eliminating habitat for monarch butterflies, whose populations are down 50% in the U.S. GM crops are also responsible for the emergence of superweeds and superbugs, which can only be killed with even more toxic poisons. Over 80% of all GMOs grown worldwide are engineered for herbicide tolerance. As a result, use of the herbicides like Roundup has increased 15 times since GMOs were introduced.
We don't have a choice to stay.
Genetically engineered foods have deeply infiltrated the American food supply. Almost 90% of crops like corn, soybeans, canola, and sugar beets grown in the United States are now genetically modified. Genetic engineering promises increased crop yields, lower costs for farmers, and reduced use of herbicides. But are these goals really being achieved? Are you benefiting from genetically engineered crops or paying a dear price for you and your children's future? It's time for an awakening. Learn to separate the truths from the myths on genetic engineering. Genetic engineering is totally different from natural breeding methods. Its promoters claim that genetic engineering is a safe and beneficial process, even going as far as saying that it's an extension of natural plant propagation. The truth: this is a laboratory-based technique where a foreign gene is inserted into the DNA of the plant. This is an uncontrolled process because the site of insertion is random and may potentially damage the plant's genetic makeup. The mutations that occur during the genetic engineering process can lead to many unexpected changes in the resulting crop, such as poor crop performance, alterations in the food's nutritional content, toxic and allergenic effects, and unforeseen harm to the environment.
With our backs to the wall, darkness before, we never prosper.
Companies use GMOs in their products to make them taste better than organic foods to increase income. GMOs burn through the intestines and can give cancer or kill. In a laboratory experiment, rats that ate genetically modified potatoes had major side effects and illness. There are a lot of protests going on in the USA over non-labeled GM food.
We don't have the choice to stay.
Our central question was, how do GMOs affect agriculture? Our answer is, GMOs affect agriculture by killing crops. When that happens, it affects the food chain and a lot of animals die. It also makes people sick and die from hunger because GMOs kill crops. The increased use of pesticides harms the environment. Insects, animals, and plants are dying. That has far-reaching consequences for the planet. That is how GMOs affect agriculture. Credits. We want to thank our teacher Miss Elliott and our teacher librarian Mr. Reisman for helping us learn how to use technology in our presentation.
Oh,